Welcome to the Cobra Cast and the Coach Wick Show. We bring back Coach Wick this week after a successful jamboree at Mission Valley. This week, the Cobras open their regular season with a top 5 matchup in 1A as they welcome Riverside Cyclones to town. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Let's start with the jamboree. What did we learn about this team from the jamboree?
You know, I think the jamboree is a great way to, get those first game jitters out of the way. Whenever you play against a Royal Valley, an Osage City, and a Mission Valley, especially with the Osage game and the Royal Valley game, those are two teams that are, at the 2A level and, arguably top 10. Royal Valley's probably going to sneak in the top 10 here sometime during the course of the year. And Osage, making it to the sub-state finals last year and really have a competitive game against Nemaha Central, bringing everybody back. I thought we competed well. There's always a mistake here and there. Watching film, we made a ton of little errors that are all correctable, which is a good thing. And, we dug into the film on Monday and got better on Tuesday. So hopefully today we can, capitalize on that for this coming week against Riverside.
Well, then that goes into my second question of let's see our sights on Riverside. What challenges will we face with the Cyclones?
When dealing with Riverside, they almost remind me of our team from last year. They're coming off a 7-3 season a year ago and only losses to us, Centralia, and Pittsburgh Colgan. So, those are arguably 3 of the top 5 teams in the state from last year. And, knowing us, we went 8-2 the previous year and then 10-1 last year. So, like I said, the comparisons are very, very similar. They bring back almost all their offensive line, all their skill positions, their quarterback, and a really, really good running back that we're going to have to tackle low and gang tackle, or, he's going to have a big game. So, all credit to Riverside. It looks like they put in a lot of work in the offseason. It's going to be a tall task for us. So, I just asked Cobra Nation to come out. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere and, one of the best games of the season.
Really? All righty. Well, we opened with Riverside last year, and it started slow. How do we avoid a slow start this year?
It's just coming out ready to play. I think we had those first game jitters last year, not really knowing who we were or what we could be. This year, I think we already have our identity set. We already know who our skill positions are. We already have that offensive flow put together. We already have our packages put together on what we want to do and how we want to attack them. Now it's just going out there and executing. And, we have a really good, like I've said in the previous podcasts, we've had a lot of assistant coaches that have stayed around, and I think that's a benefit to us. And whenever you have Greg Nalgis, Matt and Brandon Schumann, and Tyrell Childs, and Brett Plattner in there, you can't get any better than that. And I've said it time and time again. I feel like we have the best 1A staff, in the state. And, the kids listen to us. They really were focused this week in practice. But Riverside's going to be a great litmus test for us through the whole upcoming season.
Coach, we bring back a lot of contributors from last year. Can we speak on some of the seniors that, as we prepare to start this year?
I've learned this from a coach. You always hate to bring up players during the course of an interview because you're going to miss one or two. But, whenever you can bring back Drake Mellies, Austin Zeller, Brody Browning, Sir Pete, Jace Doyle, Anthony Galata, those are pieces that every coach would dream about. And, they've really taken a leadership role this year, and they've really, put team first and not themselves first. So that's always a positive atmosphere and a positive thing going forward for the team. So hopefully they can just keep being leaders and keep leading this team.
Yes, absolutely. Coach, we understand that you are also helping with the 3rd and 4th grade teams for Jackson Heights. How important is it to see those young kids getting their first experience with tackle football?
It's laughable at times. Having a son on the team, I would say I was probably more nervous before their first game than any high school game I've ever coached. I don't know why that is, but it's really teaching the fundamentals of football, really teaching them how to line up, what are the positions, what are the holes, what are the defensive techs that we have to be in on this certain play. And I don't know what it is, but they've been a sponge. And whenever you can teach 3rd and 4th graders and even 5th and 6th graders at that level how to run the spread offense, how to line up, that's the main goal for us right now. It's not really about the wins and the losses. It's just about getting better each and every day and learning how to tackle properly. That's really, really, really point we're trying to hit home, because if you don't tackle correctly, that's an avenue to, have an injury. So we're really, really trying to teach them the fundamentals, and right now it's been going great, and I think it's going to be going great the whole entire year. And We have some dads in there that are being assistant coaches as well. That's really helped me out and really helped the team out as well. And it's just a whole community buy-in. And whenever you can have that community buy-in and everybody feels a part of the team, I invited them all to Friday night's game. And it's one of those things where you learn from watching football. I know they like to go down to the practice field and play football if it's tackle, if it's touch. But I said, hey, once that game starts, guys, you need to be up in the stands. You need to be watching the game here and there because they know those players. They know a Drake Mellies. They know an Austin Zeller. And that's just, talking about the seniors again, they don't know how much these boys look up to them. It might be a kindergartner. It might be a 7th or 8th grader. They're always in the spotlight. Eyes are always on them. And it's one of those things you have to act professional. You have to act like a Cobra. And we've been doing that so far. And hopefully we can just continue with that youth program.
Absolutely. Well, that's enough for the questions. The Jackson Heights Cobras open their season this Friday at home versus Riverside. It's going to be a great night for high school football. Kickoff will be at 7 p.m. Coach, good luck, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. And Cobra Nation, let's be loud and proud on Friday.